Welcome to the Crazy Dre Podcast Show, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is my man Jones, Mr. Michigan Movie House, the guy that makes movies, horror movies for fun and for enjoyment. Again, he started about 10 years ago with Knopf Center,
Yeah,
the guy from work.
Yeah, give or take, I
Yeah.
guess.
So this guy is always the guy for horror movies. He loves his classics from the 70s and 80s. Which one is actually? And we're here to talk about a movie or a little clip on YouTube, but we'll get to that in a second. But I want to really introduce Jones. Well, what was your favorite horror movies of in your time when you were growing up?
Oh man, sure. You got, yeah, there's a ton of them.
The classic, like Halloween.
Oh, yeah, Halloween was
Mike
good.
Myers.
Halloween 1 and 2 were good,
Uh-huh.
and then of course vampire flicks were pretty good. Then zombies, Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead, stuff like that. Those were good.
Okay.
Those were good. Yeah, I like those.
Okay. So mine were obviously my favorite horror movie of all time is probably Saw 1 and 2 because it was a mind-blowing. It wasn't the obvious kill, and you have to run away from Jason or the Nightmare on Elm Street with Freddy Krueger. It was not that. Those two kind of movies became kind of humorous. But Saw 1 and 2 were good, but the theme stories. And then after the second one was done, it became kind of a redundant of bad horror movies concept. We are going to talk about movies or clips about an artist or people who are who like making movies. We happen to come by a movie that Ken came through called The Shed. And I'm going to let Ken talk about the creator and what he knows about the clip.
Okay. Well, about the it's a micro short. It's called The Shed, and it is by a Mike Davies, based on an idea by a Leighton Davies. It's got around 375 views. It's got a few likes. And this shed is cursed. The wood that it's made of is cursed, and it does. And then we're going to see what happens with this curse.
And then we'll talk about what else could be possessed or whatever. But here we go. We're going to go to the video, and then I'm going to do a small clip. I like the track. That's very cool. All right, folks. So that was the film that we just saw.
Yep.
And you know what? One of my favorite things about that film was that it was a clear, sunny day. It wasn't doomy. It wasn't black. It wasn't gray. It wasn't raining. It wasn't the obvious, protocol of horror moments in movies or clips.
Yeah, it wasn't stormy. There's no ominous music. You got this beautiful garden-like setting and lawn, just like perfect. So it's pretty unassuming.
Yeah, and it's like, it was refreshing to see that because obviously you need to go against the opposite. And I wonder if this young person at the time, this movie was made 9 years ago, and it's got about 365 hits. But I wonder if he just kind of did it for school or I feel like it's a college class that he did, like a film like Kendall College, where in Grand Rapids we have a Kendall art school, and maybe they have a video class. Sent him out, say, hey, you guys all got to make a minute and a half movie or 30 seconds movie, and this is what he came up across.
Yeah, it could be like a project from from school. He had to come up with the idea, film it, edit it, and all that stuff. Yeah, it could very well be, or it's just somebody had an idea and said, let's make it, let's do it.
Let's do it.
I mean, you never, it could be either or something else. There's really not a lot of information in the description other than it's made of cursed wood.
Yeah. And you saw the hand in that.
Yeah.
Too.
Now, I've stopped and watched that a few times. It looks like a gloved hand that gardeners wear.
Huh.
So somebody is, I'm assuming, actively working in the garden and has befallen the curse maybe when they went to get a tool to continue working in their flower bed or something like that. And then the curse overtook them in the shed.
Or I like the first idea that we talked about offline or not on camera, was that it became possessed for a reason, and then anything that came in it then became part of that curse.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that shed was never cursed, but something must have happened in that area, in that home or that family. And I feel like it's more like a death of a family member.
Yeah.
And that shed holds more of the key of what it really happened in that shed. And then that shed became the curse.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't really talk about how or why the shed was cursed, but maybe this gardener made a deal, and the lawn made a deal to have a really nice garden and lawn. And then when that happened, he welched out on whoever he made that deal with, and that's how the shed got cursed.
Yeah,
that could be.
That's another good thing to think about. I enjoyed the idea that the way that the guy made the shed shake without actually making the shed fall apart.
Yeah, yeah. It actually looks like the shed consumed that person, like chewed them, and then you see the spray of blood go across the window. So
yeah,
it looks like somebody just got flat out consumed by this, just eaten by this curse, this shed.
Yeah, I kind of wish we came across this thing earlier, and I'm hoping that this kid sees this and says, "Wow, that maybe he'll come up with another idea and finish it off."
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing another a micro chapter added.
Yeah,
maybe the guy has his little dog out in the shed, and it goes to check out the shed, and the curse gets the dog. Well, kind of add to it. Or maybe the gardener's wife comes out and's looking for him. Things happen.
Or maybe the dog becomes possessed and has rabies, and then you have to give the dog like something chewy that comes out white out of the mouth. Wouldn't that be cool?
I was thinking that would be pretty wild. I was thinking too, if a neighbor went into the shed, nothing happened, borrowed a tool. Now, would the tool be cursed because it was in the shed? And let's say he took that cursed tool over to his place in his shed. Now that place is cursed because of that tool. And then you got another cursed shed, and it goes from shed to shed to shed in the neighborhood.
But then how do you kill the curse?
I don't know. Probably have to burn the building down.
But if the curse goes from one place to another because you take the tool out of that shed, just because you destroy that shed, that curse is still in another person's shed.
Yeah.
So that means that tool, it would have to be destroyed.
Everything.
In that spot.
Yeah, that's what would be interesting and would be nice to see, is more micro chapters addressing similar ideas like that. So that would be pretty wild.
I think he should get a fire permit in his town, and so that he can go to his neighbors and ask him if he can start a fire, then we can end the curse.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could. Yeah, there could be a chapter where the shed is set aflame and we hear this horrible screeching and crying and craziness like that.
Or yeah, or like what they should do have like the guy should record a baby crying at 10 o'clock at night at a grocery store and use that cry screaming, because I work at a grocery store and people keep sending their kids to and their families to a grocery store at 10 o'clock with a 1.5, 3-year-old crying and screaming because he needs to go to bed. That'd be a good sound. If you need an obnoxious baby crying, go to a grocery store, 10 o'clock, wait till a family goes in there with a baby about 2 years old and start following it around for like 5 minutes. And I guarantee you that baby will start crying. It's the most annoying thing in the world. I can't stand that cry when it's at a grocery store. I don't mind it.
Yeah.
I don't mind it when it's like during the day and the baby needs to be changed or, something's happening.
Yeah.
But 10 o'clock p.m., please. That would be a good sound. I'm telling you, you should find your brother-in-law or whoever you're related to and ask to record your nieces or nephew or your own child and
having a fit.
Have a fit and put that in the movie. I swear that would be the perfect thing to do. So I come up with these ideas, and that's actually a really good way of doing things.
Yeah.
But I do like the fact that he just ended it and not giving us anything else. And now that I'm just watching it, and I guess I don't know what we're doing. What are we doing? Rating it? I mean, what?
Just reviewing it.
Reviewing.
It's just reviewing it.
So we're just
asking questions or what ifs or what could be's.
So
just looking at the film for what it is.
So by doing that,
no ratings. It's just,
I think,
just talking about the film and hoping for another chapter. That would be cool, and just kind of giving some ideas of what would that chapter be like. That'd be kind of nice.
A film like that. How long do you think it took him to do that? I mean, how many? Okay,
man.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the editing part of this film. And what I mean by this, we're going to go from different angles. So the first angle was the shed. The second angle was the sky, and the shed part of the sky. And then the third angle was the third or the second angle with the hand being swooped at.
Yeah.
So how long do you think? I mean, so do you think he had multiple cameras? Do you think he just moved the camera?
Geez, I want to say, first of all, you have to come up with that idea that Leighton came up with. That's probably the hardest part, is coming up with your idea. So that's going to take a while.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe you've kind of always had some kind of abstract concept in your mind that you wanted to flesh out. That could take you a little bit. Even something that looks as simple as the shed should just cause you some headaches. Everything from your film gear not working to your actors not showing up to weather.
Mm-hmm.
So
with this film, though, we just talk about this film.
Oh,
so this film,
man.
For example, let's just go to the hand part and swoop there. So for his hand or her hand or that person's hand, that shed, the way that he moved it back, you almost feel like that shed's not long enough for a grown person laying down. So I feel like there's someone behind him.
Yeah. Well,
dragging him.
It looks like it's rather violent. This person is violently jerked into the shed.
Yeah.
So how I'm guessing he did the scene is, if it's just the two of them, the camera is probably set up on a tripod. They figure out all the angle, the angle that they want. Somebody obviously has to have their hand in the shed, in the glove,
mm-hmm.
and then they just roll film and jerk that hand or glove into the shed,
mm-hmm.
whether or not it's a real person or not. It just has to look like or appear to be a person being pulled into the shed.
Oh yeah.
So I guess maybe you could probably film that in a day or two, depending on what you wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And then also there's probably some footage that hit the floor that maybe angles weren't working so well, and this or that didn't quite look right or work well together with certain parts. So, it's going to take you a little bit when you start to edit it, how you want it to look. Because sometimes things that you imagine in your mind aren't going to look like that on film. And there's certain limitations that you're going to run into.
Then how do you think he created that sound for the rattling? You know that?
Oh,
how do you think he created? Because what if that shed doesn't do that?
Yeah. Well, the creaking door, you can go online and download various sounds.
Okay.
So you can get sound effects of all kinds.
Okay.
But it's always more fun to make your own.
Yeah.
So maybe that shed door actually had that kind of creak, or they got that sound from somewhere else in their house or property. And that throwing around thing is, you can kind of duplicate that yourself by making all manner of noises if you don't want to download it, do your own sound.
Okay. So yeah, I really did enjoy that film. Is there anything else that we're missing about what could be the curse or anything?
Well, yeah, that's another mystery, is how did that wood get cursed? How did that shed get cursed? Did this guy, was he just unfortunate and he went to hardware store and somebody didn't like the hardware store and decided to curse this wood? So, because some people, some kind of random kind of thing, or was this gardener in a competition in his neighborhood and he was always winning and taking home the trophies or whatever, and somebody was upset about that, so they decided to put a curse on the shed because they wanted to win the contest. So just all kinds of things.
I feel like it's a spiritual thing. Like I feel like there's more to it than just a competition. I feel like there's something horror happened to. That's what's good about this little divot of a film, is that it doesn't show you the obvious of the curse. There has to be, like, I always feel like good horror movies are the ones that are not the obvious. Like my favorite thing about Saw was the fact that the guy that Jigsaw, his curse was the fact that people didn't take their life, that they took their life for granted, and then he would kidnap them, and then based on what that person who was kidnapped said or repented or whatever, and if they meant it, they would let them go. But if they didn't, the obvious would happen. But this case, you just don't know. And to be honest with you, I don't know if he's ever going to make a film. I don't think he ever will. But this is a good gateway for us to look at other small film and then objectively or unobjectively review it.
Yeah.
And this is more based on just entertainment for us, and especially for Ken, because he's a horror movie.
Yeah, it was just different and something to talk about.
Yeah, it's different. It's another avenue, another way for this podcast to avenue around other things and everything else. Whether you did have a couple of things, couple videos that you were kind of looking up.
Yeah, I'm still looking at a couple, and I haven't decided which ones to take a look at. But I do have a few, so that could be reviewed in the future.
So we'll do that in the future. I don't know when our next opportunity will be to. I don't know your schedule, so I'm not really sure if you're fully into it. But you can check this guy's channel, Michigan Movie House, and he's got all kinds of film that he did himself. Mr. Perfect. Naming a couple other ones that you put in there.
Oh, sometimes I think these thoughts, and then there's what else did I do in there? Oh, there's with that Mr. Perfect. There's about an hour chapter 1, and then I don't know, maybe it's about 10 minutes chapter 2, and then the Quandary is in there.
Yeah.
So there's a few things you can pick.
So check his channel out. I'm going to leave. I'm gonna leave a little data down there for you guys to go see it. Subscribe to mine and his. Follow mine and his. You can find me on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, RSS.com. Those guys distribute my podcast audio. Cheers and thank you, Ken, for showing up. And we'll come back sometime. And thank you. Cheers and have a good day, folks.